Dear students, I welcome all of you. Today we are going to start with the new lesson. Before starting with the new lesson, I would like to ask you few questions. Suppose you are playing with your friend and while playing your friend fall and get hurt. So here in this situation, does anyone tells you that don't go near to your friend, otherwise you will also get hurt? No, we are not told like that by our parents or our elders also. Am I right? Suppose if your mother has a headache, do you also get headache just because you go near to her? No, of course not. That means what? What we learned just now. If anybody is suffering from headache, if anybody is suffering from stomach ache, or anybody is injured, that doesn't mean that you will also get injured or you will also get headache just because you went near to that person. Correct. But students, there are certain situations, there are certain conditions. In that condition, we are told by our parents, we are told by our elders that don't go near to the sick person. Do not use their utensils for drinking and eating purpose. Do not use their cloth and towel and the hanky, etc. So in which situation we are all advised that to stay away from each other? In which situation we are all advised that do not go near to that person? Any guesses, students? You all must be right now thinking about the COVID-19 situation, right? So here in this situation also, we all are advised to follow social distancing. We all are advised to be away from each other, and that's the reason right now we all are conducting the online lessons. Correct? So yeah, of course, COVID-19 situation or coronavirus, it is a kind of the disease right now. Everybody is getting affected just because it is contagious. Correct? And not only coronavirus, students, but there are many kind of the diseases. There are many kind of the diseases, like for example, let's say flu, let's say cold, let's say ringworm, scabies and chicken pox. Even these are also the diseases. If anybody is suffering from chicken pox, or if anybody is suffering from cold or flu, then students, always remember, we should be away from that person. Why we should be away from that person? If anybody is suffering from flu, okay, if anybody is suffering from chicken pox, then there are the chances that we will also get that infection. Are you getting point over here? So what we call them as? These diseases, they are getting transferred from one person to the another person. Correct? So what we call them exactly? So whatever diseases which are spread from one person to the another person, we call them as what? Infectious diseases. What we call them as? Infectious diseases. So students, repeat the definition after me. What are the infectious diseases? The diseases which are spread from one person to the another person, they are called as what? Infectious diseases. Okay. So what are exactly infectious diseases? Who causes these infectious diseases? What are the types of the infectious diseases? What are the different ways of infectious diseases which are getting spread from one person to the another person? What are the preventive measures of these infectious diseases? All these things we are going to learn in today's lesson, that is lesson number 23, infectious diseases and how to prevent them. Okay, so this is our new lesson which we are going to start today. So basically, what causes these infectious diseases? You must be thinking like that. There must be something who is causing the infectious disease, right? So, can you see this picture? What you see here in this picture? You see that here in this picture, one person is sneezing without taking any kind of the precaution. And what you can see here in this picture? When this person is sneezing, that time something is coming out from his nose and that something has spreaded in the air. Correct? Can you see that something? So, what basically causes the infectious disease is that person is sneezing without taking precautions, something is coming out from his nose. That means what, student, over here? Here in this case, that something which is coming out from that person's body is the microorganism. What we call them as what? Microorganism. So these infectious diseases are caused by microorganisms. These microorganisms commonly called as germs in our day-to-day life. Understood? So whatever infectious diseases are there, they are caused by specific microorganism or germs. Now some of you must be thinking, what is the meaning of the microorganism? What we have done, for your better understanding, we divided the microorganism word into two parts. Here you can see that micro we divided and the organism we divided. Correct? So what do you mean by micro? Micro means very small. Okay. Organism means what? A living thing. Organism means living thing and micro means very small thing. So now what we are going to do? We are going to combine micro word. We are going to combine organism word. So what now it became? It became microorganism. So now let's combine the meaning of both of them. A very small living thing. So what are the microorganisms? Microorganisms are very small living thing which cannot be seen with our naked eyes. With our eyes, we cannot see microorganism. Do you know that, students, right now we all are surrounded by many microorganisms. Right now we are sitting at home. Correct? Even our this room, it is fully contaminated with the microorganism. Do you know that our whole body is also surrounded by microorganism? Even do you know that our mouth is surrounded by microorganism? Our stomach is also surrounded by microorganism. So there are many microorganisms which are present around us and we cannot see them. That's the thing. Why we cannot see them? Because they are so small, they cannot be seen with our naked eyes. Now you must be thinking what we should do to observe the microorganism. So if we want to observe the microorganism, then we can use the microscope. So with the help of the microscope, students, we can observe the microorganism. So at school also, you must have observed the microscope. Am I right? So under microscope, we can see a variety of microorganisms and these microorganisms are responsible for causing the infectious diseases. Understood now, students? What are the microorganisms? So when the germs of the particular diseases enter the body and begins to grow, the person gets the disease. So whenever, suppose we eat contaminated food or we drink contaminated water or we inhale the contaminated air, so any kind of the disease causing germs, it will go in our body. So when these germs goes inside our body, it will start growing. So when the microorganism grows in our body, that person will suffer from that particular disease. Understood? Now the thing is that, okay, if particular person is suffering from disease, we know that thing. But the thing is that how one person disease passed on to the another person? There must be something. There must be some mode of infection which is transmitting from one person to the another person. Right? So how can the other person get the disease? Because of the one person. So you can see here in this picture also that the old people, here you can see that the old man, he is sneezing or coughing, and because of his sneezing action and because of his coughing action, there are many germs which are spreaded in the air in this diagram. Can you see that? So these germs enter into the air. Correct? So when these germs enter into the air, they starts to grow inside our body. Correct? So what exactly happens that when we sneeze and when we cough without covering our mouth? So students, when any person is suffering from the cold, the germs from his body spreads in the air, and whenever that person sneezes or whenever that person coughs, that time the germs from that person's body, it will come outside and it will spread everywhere inside the air. Understood? And do you know that here you can see that when these germs enter the others people body, they also get the disease. So this is how the infection is spread from one person to the another person. Got it? So if there is some healthy person and if there is some infectious person, without taking precaution, if that person sneezes or if that person coughs, then what will happen, students? The germs from that infected person's body, it will come and it will spread into the air. Correct? So that germs will enter into the healthy person's body, and as a result, when germs will enter into the healthy person's body, even that healthy person might get the disease. Understood now? So these are the 2 points. This is your answer for how person gets the disease from one person to the another person. I hope so you're noting down all these points in your notebook. Okay? So please keep on writing. One more thing, students. Now you must be thinking that what are the different ways in which infectious diseases are spread? There must be some ways. Correct? So I guess air, water and food, you all are aware about that. Here in this picture, what you can see that there are many food stuff which are kept uncovered. So on this uncovered food material, you can see that there are many house flies, there are many mosquitoes which are flying from one food material to the another food material. And you know that these house flies and these mosquitoes, they are very dirty. So when these mosquitoes and when these house fly, they sit on the food material, they spoil the food, they cause the food poisoning. Am I right? So that means, can I say that even mosquito and house fly, they are also causes the disease? Correct? And even what are the different ways from which we can get the disease? You can see that over here there are basically 4 ways for which we can get the disease. Contaminated air, contaminated water, contaminated food and the insects. So these 4 ways are there by which the infectious diseases are spread. Understood? So what are the 4 ways from which the infectious diseases are spread? Repeat after me. Air, water, food and insects. These are the 4 different ways in which the infectious diseases are spread. Understood? So now in this topic, students, we are going to learn about one by one how exactly the diseases are spread because of the air, how exactly the diseases are spread because of the water, how exactly the diseases are spread because of the food, and how exactly these diseases are spread because of the insect also. Okay, so for now, today we are going to learn about how exactly the diseases are spread because of the air. Okay, so what are the airborne diseases? So by which we get the disease? So there are right now many kind of the microorganisms which are present in the air. So what are the germ causing diseases which disease causing germs which are present in the air? So now you can see that, students, over here you must have heard about the influenza, you must have heard about the tuberculosis, you must have heard about the swine flu also. So let me tell you that, students, influenza means common cold, tuberculosis and swine flu, etc., they all are the airborne diseases. At home also, most of the time you must have noticed that if anybody is suffering from common cold, okay, and if that person keeps on sneezing and coughing entire house, then what will happen? The other person will also get the cold. You must have noticed that most of the time. Even if your friend is suffering from common cold and if your friend is continuously sneezing and coughing in front of you, so there are the chances that you might also get the infection, you might also get the common cold. Correct? So likewise only, even the tuberculosis and even the swine flu, they are the airborne diseases. If anybody is suffering from tuberculosis and swine flu, if they sneezes into the air, if they coughs out, then the germs causing, all the germs, they will come out in the air, and as a result the healthy person will get infected. Are you getting, students, over here? Let me tell you that over here I included COVID-19 here, but the COVID-19 is not airborne disease. Okay, it is surface causing disease. Okay, surface causing disease means what? Like for example, this is not in your syllabus, but right now I'm just telling you for your general knowledge, because we all are suffering from this COVID-19 pandemic. Correct? So the COVID-19 does not cause because of the air. Let me tell you that COVID-19 causes because of the surface disease. Surface means what? Suppose, let's say for example, if this is the surface, okay, I brought something this from the market and I did not wash it properly, so there are the chances that the germs might be sitting on over here. Okay, so that's why you must have noticed one thing at home also. Whenever we buy anything from outside, what we do, we keep it aside for 1 hour, 2 hour, or maybe for 24 hours, and before keeping it like that only, we sanitize the everything thoroughly. Correct? That means what? COVID-19 causes because of the surface disease. So the virus of the COVID-19, it sits on the surface. So that's why, students, we are always advised that whatever maybe it vegetable, grocery, or anything, whatever stuffs we buy from the market, we have to sanitize that properly, we have to wash it properly, and then we have to clean our hands also properly. Understood, students? Okay, so that's why, as it is the surface disease, that's why we are also advised to stay away from each other. We are advised not to gather at the crowded places also. Understood? So these are the diseases which are spread from one person to the another person. Understood now? So what exactly happens when any person sneezes or coughs without taking any kind of the precaution? Let's say, for example, if somebody is suffering from common cold, here in this picture you can see that this person spit without taking precaution. Now you know that in our also area also there are many people who are eating tobacco, who are chewing pan also, and they are spitting here and there like that only on road also and in our society also. Correct? So what happens, students, here in this case? If anybody is spitting here and there, then here in the saliva of that person, in the spit of that person, there are many microorganisms which are present. And if that person spits here and there without taking proper precaution, then what will happen? The microorganisms which are present in the spit, okay, they will spread in the air, and the other person will also get the infection. Understood? So students, right now also, if you see any people, they are spitting here and there without taking precaution, so ask them in nice way, uncle or auntie, please do not spit in the public places. If you want to spit, then go in the washroom, spit it, and then flush the toilet thoroughly. Okay? So you don't have to give advice or suggestion to the others, but this advice you have to follow for yourself also. Understood? So there are certain hygienic habits, student, which we need to follow in order to stay healthy. Correct? So when person sneezes or coughs without taking proper precaution, here you can see that there are many tiny droplets of the saliva, they spread in the air, and that tiny droplet of the saliva, they are full of microorganisms, they are full of germs. Got it? So that's why when the other people breathe in the same contaminated air which are full of microorganisms, so these germs and these microorganisms might go into the healthy person's body, and at the end that healthy person even might get ill, and that person will get the disease. Correct? So we don't want because of us somebody should suffer. Correct? So that's why, student, we have to follow hygienic habits. We have to avoid spitting here and there. We have to cover our mouth whenever we are coughing or whenever we are sneezing. Understood? And right now also, whenever you step out of your home, do not forget to wear the mask. Without mask, if outside, then there are the chances that the germs, the microorganism which are present in the air, they might go in your body and you might get infected. And we don't want to suffer from disease. We want to be healthy, right? So in order to remain healthy, students, what you have to do, we have to always cover our mouth and the nose before sneezing or before coughing also. Understood? Okay. And again, whenever you step outside also, then ensure one thing, that you will be at least at the distance of 1 meter from the other strangers also. You won't come in contact with them, you won't go near to that person. And as soon as you come home, you will wash your hand thoroughly, okay, and you will change your cloth also. So these are the basic precautions which we have to follow, students, right now, just to avoid from getting infected. Got it, students? So what we learned today? Today we learned about the infectious diseases. What are the infectious diseases? The diseases which are spread from one person to the another person, they are called as what? Infectious diseases. Who causes these infectious diseases? Microorganism. And microorganisms are commonly called as what? Germs. So the microorganisms and germs, they causes the infectious diseases, and they cannot be seen with our naked eyes. We can't see them, right? But if we want to see these germs, if we want to see this microorganism, then what we require? We require microscope. Understood now? And what else we learned today? We learned that there are 4 different ways in which infectious diseases are spread. What are the 4 ways? Air, water, food and insect. These are the 4 different ways by which the infectious diseases might spread from one person to the another person also. Understood? And today we learnt about the infection which is caused by the air. So what are the infection which is caused by the air? Tuberculosis, swine flu, common cold. Okay, so these are the diseases which are caused by the contaminated air. And understood, student? And let me tell you that tuberculosis and swine flu, they causes the lung infection and they causes the breathing infection. Got it? So that's why, student, we have to be very careful. And even at the same time over here, for COVID-19 also, this is also causes the lung infection, this is also causing the breathing infection. So that's why we have to be extra aware right now. We have to follow the hygiene condition. Okay, so we will stop today. We will continue the next part in the next session. Okay, bye, take care.